exactly this spectrum of emotions I had experienced while bolting out of the movie theater after seeing new Ridley Scott's creation, the film nobody asked for and the one that, from the moment of its consumption, has been living in the shadow of its predecessor. Hey, I'm Robin, I love history, but I'm bad at watching movies, so here we talk about historical film and TV. And here we are, Gladiator 2 was made, so let's deal with it. But instead of simply dumping a bunch of manure on it, I thought I'd be a little bit more constructive and see if there's anything that stood a chance to have been done better.
At my signal, unleash hell.
But Robin, you didn't like anything about it? No, I did. It's still a ridiculously expensive Ridley Scott's film, so sets, costumes and some acting were up to the expected standards, but even then the overall look to me felt somewhat too clean. It's like 50s, 60s Hollywood meets 2024, but it doesn't work for this particular story. Original Gladiator visually felt different, grittier, moodier, more dramatic. I don't know what cameras Mr. Scott was using for the sequel, but some say that he was shooting with up to 8 cameras simultaneously. Personally, to me it sounds rushed, and I think sometimes it shows. One of the cameras will get something. Okay, but have you thought about the poor editors? I understand you want a sequel to repeat the success of the original, fair enough, but why do you make opening credits cling to it like it's some sort of a last beacon of hope? Don't just recycle the old footage, do something new. Use that precious time to develop the setting better, or at least make us care about our main hero. No, instead we get a bland 2-sentence exchange with his wife, who goes to war at her own will. Apparently she's this amazing archer, obviously dies as hundreds of other soldiers on both sides. Lucius gets enraged and that drives him through the entire movie. Well, what did he expect? A red carpet straight to Roman's general ship?
The entire Roman armies. Too much.
Overall, the opening naval siege of the last stronghold of Numidia, challenging and entertaining idea. Good, but unfortunately wasted potential. I understand where the inspiration came from, it's a famous siege of Syracuse. Well, fantastic, but take your time. Take it off the page properly. Why are you rushing like geese are chasing you? Besides the front wall, I didn't get the sense of fortifications at all. And battles like that require strategic elements to be properly enjoyed. Think Helm's Deep. Tone down some random gory shots and spend some time with our characters, for crying out loud. Peter Mansa, what a waste of a fine actor who actually looks like he belongs to the era. And we know he can fight, so give a man a sword. No, we're gonna use him for some exposition dialogue. And he is not the only one who got sidelined. I don't remember Derek Jacobi saying more than a couple of insignificant lines. I actually think he was there just for the "ooh, look, it's a real sequel" factor. Thankfully, Connie Nielsen at least has something to work with, and she was good. And overall, the film is way oversaturated with should-be important characters that just don't get enough time. Which brings us to Paul Mescal as Lucius. Oh, he gets time. But I think he's simply miscast in this role. Don't get me wrong, the guy has charisma, but not the type of charisma that can lead masses.
When did you get that? You
I
had
got
that
that.
already?
No, I didn't. I got that last Christmas.
I would hang out with him at the pub, but to follow him into battle? Russell Crowe, on the other hand, not only would convince me to do so, he would actually make me think that that's a good idea. So what can Gladiator 2 pull off if not the characters? Well, let me see. A heavy reliance on inconsistent CGI, this story with a weirdly rushed intrigue, and recycling. It cannot walk without holding its predecessor's hand. They forgot that originality, that's what makes it into our hearts and to the top. Potential was there, a real historical setting that doesn't even need to be tweaked to be dramatic. Use it, don't overcomplicate things. You have 2 rival camps right off the bat, brothers Caracalla and Geta. What else do you need? Lucius is of a noble birth, don't just send him out of Rome for absolutely no reason. Make him and Lucilla side with Geta. Instead of making Macrinus a copy of Oliver Reed's character, put him in Caracalla's Praetorian Guard as it was. Take time, and after proper developing a rivalry between 2 brothers, make him assassinate Geta and send him on a persecution spree, executing Lucilla and eventually capturing Lucius. Now Lucius have a valid reason for rage and revenge. No place for Pedro Pascal, but tough life. And please don't make Caracalla and get us so freakishly weird. Based on what we have, they both actually looked quite stoic and manly, especially Caracalla. I want to throw a little bonus here. Usually I don't talk about historical inaccuracies, but I do love researching them. But this film is just way too big, way too important for historical epics, and some of those are just so on the nose that I can't pass. First of all, in Rome, most riots happen during hunger. Something going wrong in the arena is just not a good enough reason for citizens to go absolutely bonkers risking their lives. They need to be in a deep level of desperation for that. Second, I don't know what's up with the leather bracer fetish, but those are in every shot. Meanwhile, I dare you, find me one in ancient paintings or on pottery. There are none. And speaking of art, Roman statues were not actually completely white. They did incorporate a lot of vibrant color. Also, there were never ready-to-go legions stationed close to Rome, and their commanders were not even allowed to enter the city without laying down their command. There was simply no reason for that. Rome had its own garrison, enough to mend the walls and guard the gates. And last but not least, Naumachia, naval gladiatorial combat. Those did indeed happen. They were rare, they were super expensive to arrange. I'm not sure about sharks though. I know about hippos, but even if those sharks did happen, I think it was just an unnecessary waste of a budget that didn't bring much to the table. So, all that being said, could Gladiator 2 have been better? I'm saying yes, but only if pride would have been cast aside. The idea of clinging to the past, completely abandoned, refreshed and made into a TV miniseries, preferably with a different name. Keep the cast, I don't care, there's even room for Pedro Pascal there. Now, I personally love historical epics on a big screen, but even IMAX couldn't save Gladiator 2 for me. Thanks so much for watching, I'll see you in the next one.